I wanted to do a few questions on surds. I've been asked by some students this week to do that. So a surd, what is a surd? So a surd is just another way of saying, so A over B. So irrational means it can't be written like that. So for example, root 2, if you were to put that into your calculator, you'd get 1 point something, 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 something. So you can't write it as a fraction. So we've been asked here to work out the value of root 3 squared times root 2 all squared. Now, surd questions are usually, not always, usually non-calculator questions. Just 2-mark question, so I would have about 2 minutes in the exam to work it out. So work out the value. So we want a number answer. So the first bracket, let's get rid of it. So it says root 3 squared, so that just means times by itself, times root 2 all squared. So again, times by itself. Now, one of the surd laws says that you can put the square roots together by multiplying the numbers. So 3 times 3, so that gives me root 9. And 2 times 2, that gives me root 4. Now, we know root 9 is just 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. So can you see, if you square a square root, you just get the number under the square root. 3 times 2, so my answer is just 6. Brilliant. Okay, next question. Work out the value of root 2 to the power of 4. So again, that means root 2 multiplied by itself 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So root 2 times 2, think back to the last question, is just 2. And then root 2 times 2 again is just 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. That's my answer for 1 mark. Next one, expand. So get rid of the brackets and simplify. So we've got a bracket with an expression inside and we're squaring it. So all that means is we're multiplying it by itself. There we go. Now you've got different methods of expanding. We talked about this before. Use the FOIL method, use the cover up. I'm going to use, for this one, let's change and use the grid method because I quite like this method. So we're going to have the first bracket at the top, the second bracket down the side, they're both the same, and we're going to multiply. So root 2 times root 2. Root 2 times root 2 is just 2. Bottom bracket here, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, here we've got 3 lots of root 2, so it's just 3 root 2. And here we've got another 3 lots of root 2, so it's 3 root 2. So that's our expanding bit for 1 mark. So you get 1 mark for that. Now we need to simplify, so we need to collect things that are the same. So 2 plus 9 is 11, so we get something for that. And then how many root 2s have we got? We've got 3 here, and we've got another 3. So in total, we have 6 root 2s. And that gets us our second mark. 2 marks, there we go, done. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, multiple choice questions. Always work them out first and then go to the answers and see if your answer is there. So circle the value. So that means one value to circle. That's equivalent, exactly the same as root 50 plus root 32. Now, there's no trick. You can't add the numbers underneath the square roots, underneath the surds. That's only for timesing, remember. So what we need to do is simplify these so we've got something in common. So root 50, I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give me 50. So I could have 1 times 50, but I need one of them to be a square number. 2 times 25 times 10. There's my square number. So it's 2 lots of 25. And now I can separate those. Root 2 times root 25. Well, I know root 25 is just 5. So root 50 simplifies to 5 root 2. Let's do the same for root 32. So again, 1 times 32, 2 times 16. I'm going to stop there because I know 16 is a square number. So I can rewrite that as 2 times 16. Separate it, root 2 times root 16. And I know root 16 is 4, so that's 4 root 2. So can you see we're adding like terms now? We're adding 5 root 2s plus 4 root 2s. So how many root 2s do we have in total? We have 9 root 2s. Okay, so they're making you work for that 1 mark, but every mark counts. So there's our answer. And then part B, circle the value that's equivalent to 4, I'm going to write it like this, 4 root 75 divided by 2 root 3. Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that's done. I can leave that there. Okay, I can rewrite this as root 75 divided by 3. That's another third law. 75 divided by 3 is root 25. Root 25 is 5. So I've actually got 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Go to my answers. There it is. Fantastic. So make sure you work them out. Okay, let's keep going. Brilliant. Okay, again, another multiple choice one. Simplify fully. Fully because we could simplify it, but we could stop before finishing the question. So circle your answer. So root 72, let's look at pairs of numbers that multiply to give us 72. 1 times 72, 2 times 36, and so on. We need the biggest square number. That's why it says fully, because you might have picked something different. So 2 times 36 is 72. So that's 2 times 36. Separate it, root 2, root 36. Root 36 is just 6. So our answer is 6 root 2. There it is. Fantastic. Okay, next question is 2 marks. Given that P, Q, and R are these particular surds, work out the value of P times Q divided by R. So P is root 3 and Q is root 8 divided by root 6. So using our surd laws, root 3 times root 8, 3 times 8 is 24. And we've still got our root 6. Now we can put them together under one root sign. So it's 24 over 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So we end up with root 4, and the square root of 4 is just 2. There's our answer. Okay. Right, so now we've got root 10 in front of the bracket, and then we've got an expression inside, and we're told it simplifies to something root 2. And we've got to work out the value of A. So again, I'm probably going to do the grid method, I think, but you don't have to. So I'm going to put my root 10 in front of the bracket there. And at the top, I've got 3 root 20, and I've got 7 root 5. Okay, multiply. So I've got my 3. So there's like a 1 there. So 1 times 3 is 3. Root 10 times root 20. I'm going to put root 200 for a minute, because 20 times 10 is 200. Again, 7 times 1 is 7. And then 10 times 5 is root 50. Okay, I'm going to have to simplify a little bit here, definitely, because I'm trying to get 3 root 200 plus 7 root 50 equal to something root 2. So the 200 I'm going to change to, let's go for 100 times 2. Now the square root of 100, if I do it here, so I've got the square root of 100, and then I've got the square root of 2. Now the square root of 100 is 10. 3 times 10 is 30, so it's 30 root 2. Plus, now I need to change that root 50, so I'm going to change that to 25 times 2. And again, the square root of 25, I'm going to write it separately. Obviously, you wouldn't write it on the answer line like me. So root 25 is 5. 7 times 5 is 35. Can you see I've now changed them both into something root 2? And if I add them together, I've got 30 root 2s plus 35 root 2s. So I've got 65 root 2s in total. So I've made it look like what they want. So my value of A must be 65. There it is, done. Okay. And then another one, root 500, take away 2 root 45. Can you write that in the form something root 5, where A is an integer, a whole number? So root 500, let's go for 5 times 100, or 100 times 5, which is root 100, root 5. Root 100 is 10. So it's 10 root 5. That's that one. And then we've got 2 root 45. So 2 root 45, I'm going to leave the 2 and I'm going to change the 45 to, let's go 9 times 5, because I want the 5 to be left as a surd. So root 9, I've still got my 2 there, root 5, root 9 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, that's 6 root 5. And we're taking away, so 10 root 5, take away 6 root 5 is 4 root 5. And that's our answer. Just write it in the form a root 5. So it's 4 root 5. 2 marks. Done.